Sometimes we just need a quick win when we're practicing our violin. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some left hand exercises to help you achieve those quick wins. I'm going to teach you how to approach each exercise step by step and how these will help improve your violin playing down the road. If you're new to the channel, my name is Eric. I'm a violinist. I teach violin and I'm dedicated to helping you become a better violinist. So let's get started with the left hand exercises. So recently I just had a violin lesson with an adult beginner where we are working on making sure that the left hand is quite fluid and flexible. Now, something that I've noticed with a lot of beginners, not just adults, but in young beginners as well, that our fingers tend to really hold onto the fingerboard once the finger is down. Now, this exercise pertains to the release of the fingers. So something that you could easily do at home is just really tap each finger very quickly, and your goal is to achieve high agility. So agility is to make sure that the finger is really quick going to the fingerboard, but most importantly going off the fingerboard. So you're just tapping and releasing. And don't worry about the actual pitches. Right now, we're just going for range of motion. We're going for motion with the back of the left hand. And remember that the finger is not just down to the knuckle. It's going all the way down here. You're making sure that the engine of the exercise is coming from back here, not from the top, because that's going to help you stay more secure in your practice with your left hand. So when you're practicing, making sure that when you're tapping really quickly, it comes from the back of the hand, not the finger itself. So that's one really quick way to kind of practice that. Now, once you feel like you've achieved that, once you are feeling warmed up a little bit, now something that you can also work on is the angle of the left elbow. So why is this important? It's important because when I see young beginners or adult beginners hold their violin, a lot of the time you see their knuckles below this way. This is pretty common when holding the violin because there's just no security of the head onto the violin chin rest just yet. So what you're trying to do is trying to create a contact point between right above this knuckle over here and the thumb. Those are the two contact points here. And then the next contact point is the head, of course. So there are three contact points. 1, 2, and 3, which is our head. So let's say we want to relax our head a little bit. We want to make sure that our posture on the left hand is secure, but also just exercising this left elbow here. And we're just working on range of motion, trying to figure out how far left we can go and how far right we can go. And for the young beginners out there, I always say, make sure that your elbow is kind of leaning towards your belly button, making sure that there's a direction towards your belly button. A couple things to keep in mind when you're working on this exercise, of course. You don't want your elbow to be all the way out here. You can see how my wrist is quite angled. You want your wrist and your hand to be nice and straight. You want there to be a straight line. You don't want to go over too much because you see how my hand is right over the fingerboard. Now, if you're playing something like a Bach fugue for violin or something really advanced, Brahms Violin Concerto, Mendelssohn Violin Concerto, all those concertos, then there will be occasions where you may have to bring that left elbow in to reach certain notes. I'm not saying that is completely forbidden, but there are occasions for the intermediate to beginner violinists where you just want to kind of exercise and understand where the knuckles are. So you don't want them below the fingerboard this way. You want them nice and curved over here. You want them to be like almost like in line with the neck and the fingerboard. Anything below that is going to be very difficult for you to reach. Now you can see here, once you start approaching the fourth finger, your knuckle is below the fingerboard and it's reaching up to the fingerboard. And you never want that. You want there to be consistency in the finger placement of the violin. Another really easy, quick exercise that you can work on without the right hand, only with the left hand, is fingertip placement. I just mentioned this a second ago. And why is this important? It provides consistency with your intonation. It's very important that we achieve really good fingertip placement so that way when we're playing multiple notes that are the same, let's say we go a D and then a B and then a D, for instance, on the A string in first position, third finger first finger, then third finger. We call that pitch memorization, where we want to have the same note sound exactly the same as before. So you want those two notes to sound exactly the same, and to achieve that, you can do Schrodiak, you can practice scales, you can just also work on making sure that the placement of the left hand is really clean. So this is what I'm talking about here. You want there to be nice, clean fingertip placements right here. And then the pinky is the one exception because the pinky is the shortest finger. So you want there to be a little bit more finger pad to be able to achieve that note. But in general, if you have large hands, long fingers, then it is possible to do a fingertip. But even for me on the side, I'm using more finger pad. That's completely normal. Another great exercise is to understand your shifting capabilities. So shifting with the left hand is something you do often on the violin. Sometimes it's a rite of passage to another piece of music in the Suzuki books, especially which are the books that I teach, especially when you're going up and down. Now, when you're shifting, going back to the whole elbow exercise, you want your elbow to be farther to the right to create a pathway for your hand moving up and down. And another reason why the contact point of the thumb and the knuckle here is important is because you're creating that slide up and down between first position and third position. So when you're going up and down, you are making sure that everything is nice and organized. You want the fingers to be curved, the knuckles to be aligned with the neck or the fingerboard going up and down. You don't want to be shifting this way when the elbow is all the way to the left. That is really awkward. You want to make sure that everything is kind of going inside, and you're focusing on just the element of shifting, and you're not worrying about moving the elbow left and right. So that's another quick and easy exercise that you can do. It takes 30 seconds to a minute. All of these exercises are designed to be very quick and easy wins. Another exercise that you can do is just releasing the left hand. This is important because you want to establish security with your head. So you are kind of putting your head down, putting back up, and you are teaching your brain and your body how to achieve this motion and making sure that you're going up correctly to the left hand and to the first position. So you're going down, then you're going back up, and you're trying to replicate the feeling of the thumb, the knuckle, the fingers curling over the fingerboard, the elbow going in, and then you can also combine the exercise of just going up and down. Now, when you're shifting up and down, just another reminder that you are not squeezing at all. You're kind of using the natural weight of your head to allow the hand to shift. Now, I'm not completely losing contact with the thumb. The thumb is always part of the conversation here. But we are always making sure that we have the contact point. We're just not squeezing or gripping as much. That's going to allow more tension to travel up into your fingers and down your arm, which we definitely don't want to do that. These exercises are meant to be practiced when you are relaxed. Relaxed meaning that you're not having a lot of tension in your hand as you're doing these exercises. Again, these are quick warm-up exercises. And if you're warming up with tension, if you're teaching your hand and your arm to warm up with tension, then you're giving wrong signals to your arm. You want to be able to relax while you're playing. There will be times for tension in violin playing, don't get me wrong. 100% tension-free playing, it just doesn't exist. There is some tension, but it's the ability to relax and release tension when applicable. So you are going to really focus on all these exercises with the finger placement, the quick release, the elbow, making sure all of that is good, and the shifting, making sure that your hand is going up and down, just practicing that, and you'll be on your way. Now, I have a bunch of videos on YouTube in regards to violin playing, but if you're looking for something a little bit more organized on various violin topics like bow hold or vibrato, I want to invite you to my online school, Violin Academy Online, where you can get a discount off your first purchase of your courses. They're 15% off. I invite you to use the discount link down in the description below. Enter that in at checkout and you will get your automatic discount. But if you want to stick around, I invite you to watch some other videos on the channel.